Okay, welcome back, guys. This is part one of Jordan Peterson's new book. This is the first rule, and just starting out, I want you guys to know this book is cool. This book is like packed with dance. It's almost hard to make a series out of because Jordan is so a wise guy, high IQ, and it's just packed with like deep insight that I think you almost need to read and be able to meditate on what's being said. But just to start it out, the first chapter is called Stand Up Straight with Your Shoulders Back. And this is what we have here. We have these cool little drawings in the beginning of every rule. That is a boy and a girl. There's a girl staring at a lobster in like a sort of aquarium. And again, stand up straight with your shoulders back. And it starts by talking about lobsters and how closely their neurochemistry is to ours, and they go back billions of years. And so what he says is that lobsters operate in a hierarchy, and when you see two lobsters come together, this is very important to understand their hierarchy because it's very similar to ours. And I wrote down the different levels. So for instance, you get a lobster face to face with another one posing a threat, and the first level is that this lobster will actually has these little jets in its eyes, and it squirts out this chemical that lets it goes right into the other lobster's face, and it says, "Hey buddy, hey bucko, I am bigger than you, I am feeling this way, this is my sex, and this is how dominant I am right now." And so it almost puffs up, it like peacocks, and it gives it this like warning, and the other is telling it the same. It can tell if its claws are bigger, and so they can choose to just leave each other alone. But if not, it progresses into level 2, and level 2 is where their antennas will actually whip back and forth, and it bares its claws. It does like something like this with its head, all right, and that's like it's ready to fight. It's like, all right, come on, buddy. And so number 3 is actually where it flicks its tail back and forth. So you got this whole like little lobster dance going on, and they're like boxers almost, like circling each other, okay, bobbing and weaving, throwing out jabs. They're in the fight. At level 3, it's going down. And the object of this, when they start fighting, is to flip the other lobster on its is to flip the lobster on its back. Now, once one does that, it's like a dog. It's like a vulnerable. It's like, all right, you won, buddy. You won. Leave me alone now. Now it can go to another level after that, which is just death, crushing it completely. But a lot of times you have this lobster that is defeated, and then one lobster reigns supreme. Now, the really crazy thing about this is that once the lobster is defeated, the lobster that is defeated, it almost becomes depressed. It loses its fighting spirit. Its almost brain literally changes. It almost has to grow a new brain because the serotonin in its brain is like, you're a worthless piece of shit. You just lost this fight. And so all of its confidence is squashed. And then the one that wins actually becomes like a god almost. He becomes kingly because he just beat this other lobster. And so his posture is more upright. You can literally see the lobster spread out. Now this depressed lobster will not face, it will lose so much confidence, guys, that it won't even face previous people that it's beaten. It literally begins to stoop and droop and close up and like is afraid. And so they've actually said when you give a lobster Prozac, it'll loosen up. Because the serotonin is increased, and it'll open up a little bit more. It'll be more likely to go pick fights with the other lobsters that it's lost to in the past. So you see how we're seeing how responsible serotonin is for your feeling of confidence, happiness, competence, and it's very cool to look at this. This is the hierarchy in just lobsters. But if you look at the human hierarchy, I don't think a lot of people realize this, and we're going to dive into what exactly a hierarchy is. But we have very, very similar structures. Guys, if you break up with a woman, if you get cheated on, if you lose your job or get demoted, it's like that's not far off from what these lobsters are experiencing. You're experiencing that decrease in serotonin. You become now at the bottom of this hierarchy, say from a scale of 1 to 10. And so the majority of people are hovering somewhere in that 1 to 3, 1 to 5. You don't want to be there because life gets very hard at the low levels of this hierarchy. When you're at 10, just like the lobster that wins, you are invited almost to like the king's throne. You get the hottest women. The lobster literally gets to choose. There's women trying to seduce him, to mate with him. These female lobsters will go to the lobsters that have won and that are crushing it, and they will shed their skin. They'll get in their very feminine, soft skin, very vulnerable, and the lobster can just come and he plants his little sperm packet inside of her. She'll go off, have his little lobster babies, and then there's more women, coming in trying to. But the guy that loses, the guy that's at the bottom of the pole, is suffering. Okay, he's just checked out, and that's a lot of men. A lot of men living lives of that quiet desperation, right? That are unhappy with their lot in life. And so let's just take a look at, this is a passage from the book, defining a hierarchy. Okay, so this is because nature is what selects, and the longer a feature has existed, the more time it has had to be selected and to shape life. It does not matter whether that feature is physical or biological or social and cultural. All that matters from a Darwinian perspective is permanence, and the dominance hierarchy, however social or cultural it might appear, has been around for some 500 million years. It's permanent. It's real. The dominance hierarchy is not capitalism. It is not communism either. For that matter, it's not the military-industrial complex. It's not the patriarchy, that disposable, malleable, arbitrary cultural artifact. It's not even a human creation, not in the most profound sense. It is instead a near internal aspect of the environment, and much of what is blamed on these more ephemeral manifestations in a consequence of its unchanging existence. The part of our brain that keeps track of our position in the dominance hierarchy is therefore exceptionally ancient and fundamental. It is a master control system, modulating our perceptions, values, emotions, thoughts, and actions. It powerfully affects every aspect of our being, conscious and unconscious alike. This is why when we are defeated, we act very much like lobsters who have lost a fight. Our posture droops. We face the ground. We feel threatened, hurt, anxious, and weak. If things do not improve, we become chronically depressed. Under such conditions, we can't easily put up the kind of fight that life demands, and we become easy targets for harder shelled bullies. And it is not only the behavioral and experiential similarities that are striking. Much of the basic neurochemistry is the same. So it comes down to serotonin. Guys, when you're at the bottom of this hierarchy, when you're in life, and let me give you an example. The money is very tight and you don't know your next meal. You're about to lose your car. You're about to lose your house. You end up not having a lot of friends because no one wants to be around the people at the bottom, right? The beggars. If you're a loser right now, life is fucking hard, okay? You're wearing rags. You don't know what to do with your time. You have all this freedom. You don't know what to do with your time. And so what ends up happening? Your body is stressed the fuck out. And so a very ancient mechanism kicks in to sort of guard you. Well, it jumps at any immediate pleasure that is in your environment. Any quick mating solution. You just grab onto any, girl that will fuck you or that, you can mate with. You'll take any, that's how a lot of people get into drugs, right? They're chronically bored or they're low in purpose. They don't know what to do with their life, so it's very easy, guys, when you're at the bottom to just have all this behavior that reinforces you to stay at the very bottom. This is how the alcoholic takes a drink, the blood alcohol rises, and boom, he's like in that endless loop of, and then you go through the withdrawal, and then you figure you can cure that with a little more alcohol, but you're just you're reinforcing that state. And so your posture droops, you become depressed. And what Jordan is telling us here in the very first rule is that by standing up straight, by putting your shoulders back, and I'm going to actually show you at the end of this video a few exercises, a few stretches that you can do that I personally do myself, and I have been. One of the reasons that we need to stand up straight is because in the face of this seemingly unfair thing that is the hierarchy, we are saying not only to ourselves, but to the world, I am capable of taking you on full force. You become the hero just by, instead of slouching and going throughout your day downtrodden, moping, you stand up and you say, I can face this uncertainty. I can embrace the chaos. It's just taking responsibility. You become the hero of your journey, the hero that sets out and slays that dragon. It's such a phenomenal thing because the body is connected to the mind. It's like you have this psyche, this spirit, and when you start to change the body, the mind also changes. It lights up. Now you begin to have more serotonin. You're saying to everyone, man, look at me. You're saying, look, I'm not afraid. I can take on like those things that really have been stressing me the fuck out. I'm capable of changing my life just by standing up. Just by standing up. So the first rule is stand up with your shoulders back. Very cool thing. I'm gonna wrap this video up that he said is during his just career dealing with depressed people, he's noticed that the people at the bottom of the hierarchy, the depressed, usually lack structure because of all this free time and so many confusion thoughts going on in their head. They just lack structure, and so they begin to wake up very late and then go to bed late, wake up early one day. It's all over the place. They don't eat breakfast. And he said just by waking up at the same time every single day and by eating breakfast, you're providing your body with the energy and the structure to have a better day. And so, we've talked a lot about making a morning routine, and that's all about building that momentum and giving you the confidence to go throughout your day. On top of this, I'll give you a really cool tip. If you ever have seen someone light up a room, there's something about that person that is just like, man, they're charismatic. People want to be around them. Guys, if you can get in the habit, you will stand up straight, your posture's aligned, and you go into the gym or to the grocery store, into any party, just start saying hi to more people. And you'll realize that by you doing this, you're perceived automatically as like more valuable. You're like an authority figure. You're just saying hi. You're not like some guy that's standing in the corner beating off. It's like you're happy to be there. You're saying hello to people. Just saying hello to the people in your environment instead of ignoring them is going to make you and other people feel great. And so guys, stand up straight. That is the first rule. Shoulders back. And we'll take a look at some of the best stretches that you can do to help your posture. Thanks for joining me. I will see you guys on rule number 2.